friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Katerina, or Kat, or if you're new here, and this is my channel of everything cozy, bookish, and lifestyle related. And I realized that we're in the middle of October, 'tis the season of spooky season, and I have not really read a lot of thriller or spooky books, and I thought I really need to rectify that situation. Now granted, I am not a Halloween person. I don't like spooky things. I don't like the spooky season. Not technically my favorite holiday per se. However, that being said, I still like to be in the fall mood. I do have quite a few books that I'm very excited about getting to. Some are spooky, some are thriller, some are horror, some are classics. So the first book that we have here is a classic by every single definition, and that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. Dracula has been on my list for quite some time to read. It is one that has been on my classics list in general, and this is our original vampire story right here, at least the most well-known original vampire story. So I'm definitely interested in getting into this one. Then we have an author from a horror genre that I have been hearing a lot about, and I really wanted to get one of his popular works, and that is Slewfoot by Bram. This is classified as a horror, so I'm very interested in it because I do not read a lot of horror books, and so we're gonna see what this one's about. I think this is the one that I most likely am gonna start with. And moving on from there, we have a murder mystery, and that is The Pledge by Cole Dietrich, and this one I was actually sent by the publisher quite some time ago. I think I was sent last October when I got it. Then we have Piñata by Leopoldo Gut, and this follows a mother and her children, and the mother is an archaeologist, and she ends up going down to an archaeological site, and she is warned by the locals that there are some mysterious things afoot and that she should not disturb anything or take anything from the archaeological site. Does she listen? No, she's an archaeologist. She ends up taking something back to, I believe, New York with her, and very scary things start to happen. And then finally, for the horror of horror books, for the most well-known horror illustrator out there, we have Tomie by Junji Ito. So Tomie is a collection of stories about Tomie. She is a femme fatale, which means that she is a woman that drives men crazy and or drives them to self-destruction or murder. And in this case, she is very loved, and she is so loved that the men either want to kill her or kill themselves. And so it's pretty much a collection of horror stories about her being murdered over and over and over, but she does not die, and she does not stay dead, and she continuously comes back and haunts the men. And it's a stunning cover. Like, I love it. It's one of my favorites. It is now part of my collection. Like, the art style is very intricate for Tomie. I mean, yeah, very excited to read it. So, we're gonna do this. Hey friends, so it is the next day and I'm coming at you with a reading update. So last night I ended up finishing Slewfoot by Bram, and this was absolutely amazing, absolutely stunning, devastatingly beautiful, horrifically horrific, very gory in some aspects, and I just loved everything about it. Bram has such a way of storytelling. I devoured it within a day. I just couldn't put it down. And I definitely see myself picking up other works by Brahm. But to quickly talk about this book, I really, as we all know, I really suck at synopsises. But the plot progression in this book is amazing. I absolutely love it. But what I loved more is the characters. And both the characters, so we have we have multiple main characters. We have Abatha, our main female character. We have Slewfoot, who is seen as the devil, but to Abatha's eyes, she's thinking that he's more of a forest god. You have then this other main character, Wallace, which is Abatha's dead husband's brother. He's kind of seen as the villain, and technically most of the villagers are seen as the villain. But to focus on Abatha, as well as Slewfoot, have an amazing character progression, specifically their character progression of their beliefs. You know, Abatha has grown up in a very Catholic household, except that her mother you could view her mother as pagan. Her mother was a healer, but a lot of people viewed her healing aspects as, you know, devil's work. And she comes to this new world, and she's in a village where it's a very pious village, and you have Abatha, who is struggling with her Catholic upbringing, but also her mother's teachings, especially since Abatha dabbles in natural healing as well. And then, of course, her husband dies, and Slewfoot kind of starts coming around, and she's starting to question not only her beliefs, but what is good and what is bad, and is God good and is God bad? And it's a really amazing book that touches on God, and it touches on our beliefs, and it touches on society as a whole. And if anyone is outside of societal norms, they're considered to be Satan followers, or to be, you know, have the devil incarnate in them. The only thing that I would say that I had a problem with was the pacing. So the first 50 to 70 pages were quite slow. It almost got to the point where I was like, okay, just get to the point. Very interesting. Highly recommended. If you're wanting to get into the horror genre, I definitely would probably recommend this one because it wasn't too gruesome. So because I flew through a 300-page book quite fast, I kind of need a mental break. So I did pick up last night Tomie by Junji Ito, and this is horrific. Like this is awful. There's multiple stories in Tomie, and I've only gotten to story 3 or 4. It is the photo that I've gotten to, and let's just say some of these are pretty horrific. Like when it comes to the actual images themselves, like not all of them are horrific, but how she is murdered, it's like 100 ways to die. So let's sit down and let's read some Tomie. As you can see, I have entered my sweater era, and I am not going back. You'll most likely see me only in sweaters from here going forward. It's been a few days. The last time I gave you guys a reading update, it was Wednesday, and I had started Tomie. It is now Friday, and I have finished Tomie by Junji Ito, and let's just say I'm addicted, guys. I now understand why so many people love Junji Ito. I get it now, because this was so addictive that I finished it in less than a day, and I want more of Junji Ito. Now, here's my recommendation. Don't be me and finish it in less than a day. Definitely spread it out. If you're not a fan of like the same story over and over again, you don't want to pick up Tomie and binge it in one setting, because the stories are very similar and Tomie is being unalived over and over and over again. I mean, that's the point of the series. She's a femme fatale. She brings destruction to men and brings destruction to herself because men are obsessed with her. Now, is Tomie innocent in all this? No. However, Junji Ito, whether he intentionally does this or not, does a really great job at showing society's flaws on what we decide beauty standards are, and what the issues that are caused by beauty standards and what we considered beautiful. And Tomie is the epitome of beauty. And once I finished Tomie, I then picked up, where did it go? Dracula by Bram Stoker. This was one that I'm very excited to get to. I am barely 9 pages in, and I am loving the writing of Bram Stoker. This is pretty much what I'm going to be reading for the rest of the weekend. It is a beautiful morning out. I'm going to quickly go get a coffee, and then we're going to read Dracula by Bram Stoker. right, and that wraps up another reading vlog. This was a very ambitious reading vlog. My TBR, I think, was like 6 or 7 spooky books, and I only got through 3. Now granted, 3 is quite a bit, but 6 books was, I think, a little bit impossible with my full-time job and just my crazy busy life that I've had for the last week. However, let's quickly do a recap of the books that I finished during this spooky reading vlog. So the first book that I finished is Slewfoot by Bram. Absolutely love this. This was wonderful. I definitely plan on picking up Bram's other works. I ended up giving this, I believe, a 4-star rating, and I could definitely see myself picking up all of his works. Then I picked up and finished Tomie by Junji Ito. This was so addictive. I absolutely love Junji Ito's art style. It was wonderful. It was spooky. It was gory. It was disturbing at times. I ended up giving this one also a 4-star, and I definitely plan on picking up more of Junji Ito's works as well. And then the star of the show, we have Dracula by Bram Stoker. This was absolutely amazing. How it was told, it was brilliant. Bram Stoker's writing is amazing. His storytelling is wonderful. It was spooky. It was perfect for this spooky season right before Halloween hit. If you haven't read Dracula, I highly recommend it. It definitely is a very accessible classic, so it's definitely one that I will be recommending quite often in the future. There you have it. There are the books that I finished during this reading vlog. If you haven't already, definitely make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Also, in the comments below, let me know your favorite spooky read that you have read so far this October. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!